Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on the estate ring. So that's going to complete our little bracelet earring ring set. So here's the ring. So you can go as embellished like all the way if you like, or you can just, make it simple. So along the way you have several different options. So we're going to do a peyote band. So this is a regular peyote band, and this one I've used Delica's and 11 So we're going to do this band today. I think it makes a really pretty band for this ring. It's a little odd count peyote, so stay with me because when you learn odd count peyote, you're absolutely going to love it if you don't know it already, because you're going to be able to do so many beautiful designs. And we're going to be doing some flat peyote designs coming up, this spring and such. So, stick around and learn it. So because I'm going to teach you flat odd count peyote, the video is going to be a little bit longer than usual because there's about 10 minutes worth of teaching on the odd count peyote. So I'm going to put timestamps in the description box below the video. So if you want to just skip over, any parts of it and just get to attaching things or whatever, you can just skip over to the timestamp that is corresponding to where you actually want to be on your ring. Okay, so I'm going to clear this off, get a materials list going, and we'll get started. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell so you're notified when I upload a video. Thank you. So you need, one of the 12mm cushion cut fancy stone or square Rivoli, whatever they call it. It's the same number, it's the same stone, just sometimes called something different. This is that beautiful, I forget the name of it, from Eureka's last collection, the Flamingo Beach collection. So I'll be using a couple of beads from there today. You need some 11 Delicas, some 15 seed beads, some 2mm fire polish beads, and these are regular 2mm fire polish beads. They're not the true 2s. They're actually more like 2.5mm, but you can fit a 3 in there. You just have to adjust some of the beads that go around this particular bead. You'll need some 3mm bicones, some 11 seed beads. I have 2 here. This is from the Eureka collection. I'm thinking maybe I'll use this one or this one. I'm not sure. You'll need a stop bead, size 10 beading needle, 8-pound Fireline. That's it. So I'm going to clear off and we're going to get started. Don't forget to look in the description box below the video for all colors, sizes, shapes, links to bead websites, you name it, in the description box below the video. And also, if you are looking for a particular piece that I might be wearing, I know I said this in the last video, but I have to repeat myself. I do, for people who haven't seen it. Don't forget to look at my playlists, because if you're looking for a ring that I'm wearing, like this one you're not going to find yet because we're making it today, but often I'll wear a different ring from a different video, and then I'll get a lot of questions on where can I find that video, do you have a video? Just go to my ring playlist. There's a list of everything that I wear. I don't wear anything beaded that I haven't made, so you will find it in the description, in the playlist. So don't forget to look at those playlists. Like if you're looking for this bracelet, you'll find it in a playlist. If you're looking for, anything that I've made, you'll find it in a playlist. I always make sure, because I don't want you to have to look through 200 and something videos to find something. Got to keep it in categories, right? All right, so I'm going to clear this off. We're going to get started. Let's get started. So thread your needle with about 3 feet of thread. Put a stop bead on about center. So you have half coming out of this side of the stop bead and half coming out of the other. Of course, you're going to have a little more coming out of the needle side because of the amount of thread you have coming through the eye. That's fine. So I've picked up and dropped down to my stop bead 5 11 Delicas, and I've switched to this white because I just think it would be easier for those of you who haven't done this yet. So it'll be easy for you to see the beads rather than them being all gold. So 5 Delicas and 4 15 seed beads. 5 Delicas, 4 15-0s, 5 Delicas, 4 15-0s, 5 Delicas, and 4 15-0s. So 4 groups of each. So I'm going to sew those into a circle by sewing up through the first bead after my stop bead. So that's that first Delica, like that. Get my needle in. There we go. Just gonna pull. Not tight. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna back off a teeny bit because my camera's sort of complaining at me a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up a Delica. We're gonna do a little peyote. Pick up a Delica, you're exiting this Delica, skip the next one, and sew through the following one. Make sure that bead pops up, like that. Give it a little push. That's what it looks like. Now for those of you who have done this and you know it by heart, you can go on and, go to where I start the band. However, it's always nice if you bead along with me. I like that. So, exiting here, skip this one, and sew through this one. You never know what I'm going to say, or give what info I'm going to give you. I'm trying to get you to stick around. Okay, so now you're exiting this Delica. You're going to pick up a 15-0. You're going to skip the next 15-0 and sew through the middle 2 15-0s, like that. Make sure it pops up like that on top of the previous bead. Pick up a 15-0, exiting this 15-0, skip the next one and sew through the next Delica. Pick up a Delica, exiting this Delica, skip the next one, sew through the following Delica. Pick up a Delica, exiting this Delica, skip this one and sew through the next one. Go just a little bit further, pick up a 15-0, exiting this Delica, skip the next 15-0 and sew through the 2 15-0s like in the center right there. Pick up a 15-0, exiting this 15-0, skip this one, sew through this Delica. Oops. Like that. You can do that all the way around, and then meet me at the end, and we'll step up together. Coming around to the last corner, so exiting this Delica, picking up a 15-0, sewing through those center 2 15-0s, picking up a 15-0. I'm going to skip this 15-0 right here. I'm going to sew through the next Delica. Get my needle in there. And the one on the diagonal, so this is where our step up is. So I'll hold that for a second for those of you who haven't done this. So just skipping, coming out of this 15-0, skipping the next one, sewing through the next Delica and the one on the diagonal. And now we're stepped up. Okay, so get that done and then we'll continue. So now we're exiting a Delica, pick up a Delica, sew through the next Delica, pick up a Delica, sew through the next 15-0. Then we're going to pick up a 15-0 and sew through the next 15-0. So we're putting a 15-0 in the corner, like that. And I'm sort of putting my thumb in it and letting it curve naturally a little bit on its own, helping it a tiny bit, but not a lot. You don't have to pull this tight right now. So now Delica kind of goes on its own. Delica, and another Delica. $15 in the corner. So $15, sew through the next $15. Okay, so you're just going to do that all the way around, and then meet me at the end, and we'll step up. Okay, coming around the corner, putting in a $15. Now we have to add another Delica. So here's my Delica. I'm going to sew through this Delica and the one on the diagonal to step up. So now you're all stepped up and you're ready to continue. So get that done and then we'll flip to the other side for a minute. Okay, so this is where we're looking at the moment. We're on the back, so we've been doing the back. I'm going to flip it over. So I'm using my other thread now. So I've threaded this needle, put the thread on a needle, of course. And you will be exiting a Delica. Pulling right here. So you want to move this thread to the front so we can add some beads. Just sew through that 15-0 that's right on the diagonal right there. That sets me up to put more beads on. Now you can pull the back a little bit. So you see how it's starting to curve a little bit? Right, let me back off a tiny bit. Okay, now we're going to work with our 15-0s. So pick up a 15-0 and sew through the next up bead, which is going to be that 15-0 in the corner. And then you want a 15-0 in between each up bead. So 15-0 through this Delica, 15-0 through the next Delica, 15-0 through this 15-0, in the corner, all the way around. So get that done and then meet me at the end and we'll continue. Okay, so I am coming down to the end. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0. I'm going to sew through this Delica, so the next up bead, and then pick up a 15-0 and we're going to step up like in the corner. So we're exiting this Delica, we're going to sew through this bead, which would be the next up bead. So it's the 15-0 right here, and the one on the diagonal, which I didn't get all at once, but I'll just do it like that. And now you're stepped up. Okay, that's what your front is looking like. All right, so I'm just going to let you get to that point, and then we're going to start working on the back a little bit. Okay, we're back. So I know we're flipping back and forth, and the reason I do that is because the shape of this bezel, this stone, is different from the back to the front. So I try to do it in a way that holds the stone as easily as possible. So when I do all one side first, then the back side is, or the front side is, it's weird, it doesn't fit right. So when I switch back and forth, it's only in an effort to make it as easy as possible to hold the stone in. So I'm going to pick up my stone. So I flip to the back again. So here's the front to that point. Now we're going to the back. So I'm going to pick up my stone, I'm going to pop it in, and it's not going to stay right now, but I just want to show you how it looks. So that's how it's going to look. We have more bezeling, more beading to do on the front, so we'll get there. So now we're just going to add some 15-0s. So pick up a 15-0, sew through the next Delica, pick up a 15-0, sew through that little 15-0 in the corner, pick up a 15-0, sew through the next Delica, sew a 15-0 through every up bead. Okay, you don't have to pull tight, just pull snug enough so that it starts to hug the stone, and it won't stay, until it decides to stay. So it might pull out, it might, if you just take it like slow and you take your time, usually it will, pull in really nicely. So we're getting there. It's still very loose. So I'm just going to go all the way around with my Delica, my 15-0s through every up bead. And an up bead is a sticking out bead. I'm sure you know that. But for those of you who don't often hear it called an up bead, that's what it is. So I'm just going to keep going around. Make sure I got one in there. I did. And then I'm just going to keep going until we get to the end, and we'll continue. All right, see you in a minute. Coming down to the end. So I'm just going to put on this bead here, and another 15-0. And you notice I'm picking up the ones that are most even looking. Now I'm going to step up, pick up a 15-0. I'm going to sew through this Delica and that 15-0 on the diagonal. And now you've stepped up. Okay, so now I'm giving it a pull and it's staying very nicely. So just a couple of, notes for those of you who, are not that experienced with the bezel. Don't pull super, super tight on one side or the other. Keep your tension even, because if I pull super tight on this side, then this side's going to start pulling back. If I pull super tight on this side, then it's going to start pulling in. So if you just keep your tension even and like just relax, don't grit your teeth, you know, and it will all, you know, it will sit really nicely. But if you get like crazy and you start pulling super tight, then, you know, you're just going to have problems. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to continue. So I'm still in the back, exiting this 15-0. I'm going to sew through this, the next 15-0 and the next two 15-0s actually. So these two right here. So the two in the corner. It's going to pull me in a little bit, and I'm still not pulling tight. I'm just pulling snug enough so that it sits nicely. So then I'm going to sew through this 15-0 with a 15-0. Pick up a 15-0. Sew through the next 15-0. I'll just get you over the next corner. 15-0. Sew through the two in the corner. Just like that. Okay? That's what you're going to do all the way around until you get to the end. And then I'll meet you and we'll continue. Okay, coming down to the end. So I'm going to step up here. So I'm exiting a 15-0. I'm just going to sew through this 15-0 and the one on the diagonal. Pulling it in a little bit. So my back is done. You can go on with another round if you like, but I don't really think you need another round. So that's what the front looks like. That's what the back looks like. Okay, so I'm just going to let everybody catch up, and then we'll start, you know, embellishing the front a little bit. Okay, so we want to get this little sort of modified square, sort of like quatrefoil, quatrefoil-ish. So we want to get that look. So the way we're going to do that is just we're going to move our thread over, and we're going to sew through the beads until we get that pretty look. So I'm exiting a corner 15-0 at the moment. So I don't have any beads on my needle. I'm just going to sew through this next one on the diagonal, so the 15-0, and then up through this one. So these are the beads I'm going to be working with. I want a bead here and a bead here. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0 and sew through the next 15-0. Going to pick up a 15-0 and sew through the next 15-0. So that's what I have. Now I want to get to this group of 3 here, so I can put a bead here and a bead here. So all I'm going to do is move my needle. So exiting a 15-0 right here, I'm going to move through this one. So I'm on the diagonal there, and you can actually move through these two together. You just don't want any thread showing. And then I'm back on the diagonal here, just moving my thread, and then I want to sew through this one. So now my thread's in place again. Pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 15-0, pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 15-0. Now I want to move my thread and my needle here so I can put some beads here. And I'll do it with you one more time. Sewing on the diagonal through this 15-0. Sewing through these two. Through this one. And through this one. Pick up a 15-0. Sew through the next 15-0. Pick up a 15-0. Sew through the next 15-0. So you're going to do that all the way around, and then meet me at the end and we'll do it again. Okay, so I've added my last 15-0, and now I want to work my way. So we're going to go around again, but this time I just want to put one bead here and one bead here. So in these 4 spaces, one bead here and one bead here. So when you look at it, you see how there's just room for one bead, so we want a little point right there. So I'm just going to sew through. Again, I'm just sewing through on the diagonal here. I'm going to sew through these two. Going back on the diagonal here. I just want to get up to this space so I can put a bead there. Sew through this one. And this one. And I'm going to add my 15-0 right here. See how that gives me the point that I like. So you're just going to do that all the way around, just putting one bead in this one little space there, and meet me at the end and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So I have my last point on, and I'm just exiting so here I've put that last bead on right there. Here, I'll pull it out. Right there, so on. Now I'm just going to sew on the diagonal until I just want to move the thread out of the way. So I've sewn through one bead, and now at this point I can reverse direction and go up this Delica. So that's, you can always do that. And I encourage you to reverse direction when you're sewing your threads in, because that makes everything nice and tight on a peyote bezel. So at this point you can leave this thread, you can move over one, you can leave this one, and we can use it to do some of the embellishment, or you can use the other side of the thread to do some of the embellishment. We're going to put the band on separately. All right, so get to that point and then maybe back here and we'll embellish the outside of the bezel and then we'll put the band on. Okay, we're back. So we're going to do a little embellishment around the edges. So we're going to do a little stitch in the ditch. And stitch in the ditch is nothing more than you'll be exiting a Delica, like right here. See where my thread's coming out? There's a little ditch here in between these two Delicas. So I'm exiting here, there's a ditch, here's a Delica. I'm just going to pick up an 11-0, and I'm going to sew through that next ditch. But you want to make sure that you are coming out of the Delicas that will connect to this 15-0 in the corner. So just watch what I do and you'll see how that is. So if you're not exiting the right one, let's say you're exiting this one, you need to move over so that everything's in line so you can put a bead in this corner. So 11-0 through the next Delica, got one on, 11-0 through that 15-0. So you just want to make sure you're on line to come out of that 15-0. Then we're going to take a 2mm fire polish in the corner, just like that. 11-0 through the next Delica, 11-0 through the next Delica. If you don't end up in line with the 15-0, just take it out until, and move it over. 11-0 through that 15-0. 2mm fire polish through that 15-0. So you're just going to do that all the way around. Yeah, that's pretty. Love it. And meet me at the end and we'll continue. Okay, coming down to the end, so here I'm exiting this 15-0. Going to add my corner fire polish bead. And then I have to add one more 11-0. So exiting this 15-0, going to ditch right there, put that stitch in the ditch through that Delica, and then up through the 11-0 that I had originally put on. So now I'm ready to put some more beads on. So at this point, we're going to get to our bicones. We're going to pick up a bicone, sew through the next 11-0. Now at this, at any point you can stop and add the, go on to the band and add the band. I'm going to do the whole thing like this guy, so that if you want to do the whole thing, you can. But just feel free to do whatever you love. So here, 11-0. So through this one, the fire polish, and 11-0 through the next 11-0. Pick up a 3mm bicone. So through the next 11-0, 3mm bicone, through the next 11-0, 11-0, through this one, just all the way around, 11-0, through this one, 3mm bicone, 3mm bicone, 11-0, 11-0, and so on, all the way to the end, and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, coming down to the end, putting on my last bicone, so through the 11-0, and I'm just going to come right up through that bicone right there. So now I'm at this point. So at this point, you can stop, you can continue. I'm doing the whole shebang. So I'm going to sew through the next 11-0 and the one there, the next two 11-0s. And then I'm going to take 3 11-0s and I'm going to surround that little 3mm by going through the next two 11-0s on the other side. Okay. Now I'm going to sew through the next bicone. Now when you're doing this, if you look at the ring, you only want, if you're doing this little embellishment right here, the little picot, you only want to do it on two sides because, well, I mean, I guess you can do it on all sides. I kind of like it just on those two, and then I like the band, you know, coming out from that point. But so if you, you know, it's up to you. You can embellish as much as you like or as little as you like. So, but I'm going to do it this way. All right, so I'm going to pick up 3 15-ohs. I'm going to sew through the next bicone. Make sure that pops up like a picot. Like that. So I'm going to put a picot here and one here, but I'm not going to put them here. Then I'm going to advance through the next 2 11-ohs. That's this one and this one. Pick up 3 11-ohs. Surround your fire polish bead. Like that. Sew through this bicone, and I'm not going to put a picot there, so I'm going to sew through this 11-oh. Like that, and then through the next bicone and the next 2 11-ohs, 3 11-ohs, through the next 2 11-ohs, sew through the next bicone, oops, 3 15-ohs, putting my picot on this side, through the bicone and the next 2 11-ohs if you can get them all at once, and make that little guy pop up. 3 11-ohs, through the next 2 11-ohs to surround that other 2mm fire polish. Sew through the next bicone, 11-oh, and the bicone. So I am as embellished as I want to be for my ring. So I'm just going to turn around and I'm going to sew through just a number of beads. Just get my needle in there. There we go. So I'm just going to go up and around because that's the way my thread path is. I'm just going to pop around this way, down through these 3. So now you just want to sew your threads off because we're going to put the band on separately. So I'm just going to slip under this between the bicone and the 11-oh. Make sure you're getting that thread right there. Just like that. And sew through the bicone, whoops, the bicone, don't get caught. And at this point you can go actually up through this 11-oh and then do a couple more half-hitch knots to where until you feel it's really comfortable. So that's where we are for our embellished ring. So this is what it's going to look like. All right, so just get to this point and then come on back and we will start the band. Okay, let's start the band. So you're going to need some 11-oh Delicas and 15-oh seed beads. I am going to do this in 10-oh Delicas and 11-oh seed beads because I think it would just be easier for you to see. So doing a little odd count flat peyote. So thread your needle with about 3 feet of thread, put on a stop bead and leave about a 10-inch tail so we can sew it to the ring. So I'm put on my needle, I'm going to drop down to my stop bead. I'm going to say it's a 15-oh, although mine's an 11-oh. A 15-oh, 5 11-oh Delicas, and a 15-oh. So that's what you're going to put on your needle. Like that. I'm just going to wrap it around my finger so I can hold it in place somewhat. It's always hard the first round. So I'm going to pick up my seed bead, so that's the 15-oh. I'm going to skip this bottom one and sew through this one. Just going to put my finger on it. And let me just get it into place. So you want to make sure that that bead pops next to the other gold bead. Okay. I'm going to pick up my Delica, exiting this Delica. I'm going to skip the next Delica and sew through the following Delica. Just going to pop that bead into place. If you haven't done this before, maybe practice a little bit with these beads, because it's such a great thing to learn, because you can do so many beautiful patterns, and we will do some flat peyote patterns in the future, and you'll need to know this. So pick up a Delica, exiting this Delica, skip this one, sew through the next one. Just move that. This is what I have. Now I want to get a gold bead there, so I'm picking up my seed bead. And all I really want to do is just put this bead next to this bead. So to do that, I'm coming in this way. I'm just going to pick up the seed bead, so it's a 15-0 for you. I'm going to sew through this way, down through this gold bead that's already there, the Delica underneath, and the one on the diagonal. So there's the bead. So this is the way it's going. Make sure you're nice and tight. And you're going to have to pop that bead down. Just put it into place. And that's how you get that top bead on. So now we want to be coming out of this bead. So all you're going to do, let me tighten this up around my finger again. And we'll do this a few times so you can really see it. It's just hard to hold at this moment. So I'm holding it like this, so I'm exiting this bead now. Sew through the one next to it in this direction. So you see we're sewing through this bead, the one that's next to it. Going back up again. Through this next Delica right here, and this seed bead that's on the diagonal, not the one I just put on, the previous one. Like that. And then I'm going to sew through down through the bead I just put on, like that. I'll move my thumb in a second. And now I'm ready to put more beads on. So that's how you start odd count peyote. Now this is sort of the traditional way of doing it. There are other ways of doing it, but I figure everybody needs to learn, if you haven't done it yet, just the regular way that, been doing it for years. You can do brick stitch, you can tie knots and turn around. I just think everybody should learn this way, and then you can go off and learn another way if you like. So here, exiting here, pick up a Delica, sew through that next Delica, pick up a Delica, sew through the next Delica, pick up a Delica, sew through the bottom seed bead, pick up a seed bead, going back up. So right now, we don't have to mess with that sort of beading around business until we get back up there, like that. So pick up a Delica, sew through the next Delica. And if your beads kind of pull apart a little bit, just push them together. Just take your time. Pick up a Delica, sew through the next Delica. Pick up an 11-0, or the seed bead. So I want to put it here. So I'm picking it up, I'm coming in this direction, coming down through the seed bead that's on my work, and the two on the diagonal, so this one, and this one. It's going to place that on. Now I have to get back out of this bead, so I'm just going to sew through the bead next to the bead I'm exiting, through this one, and the seed bead on the diagonal, so this one and this one right here, not the one I just put on, the previous one, like that, and then down through this one. That's it. Let's do it one more time. Delica, 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 going back up, seed bead, Delica, Delica, Now I want to get this last bead on, picking up my seed bead, exiting this Delica, coming in this way, through the seed bead and the 2 Delicas on the diagonal. Pop that guy into place. Up through the seed bead, the Delica next to the one I'm exiting, through the one on the diagonal and the seed bead right above it, and then down this one again. So this is what you're going to do all the way down to make your band. And I want you to end each, so this end is fine. So when you end this side, this is where I want you to end the band so we can attach it. So you want to have these two Delicas in the middle on both ends, just like that. All right, so go on and get your band to the proper length to fit your finger, and that's going to depend on your finger, of course. And we're just going to, you don't need much space to connect it on, so just make the band just about, your proper fit. All right, so get that done, meet me back here, and we'll connect the band. Okay, so it's time to get the band on. So we're exiting this 15-0 on the band part of the ring, and I've marked the 3 Delicas that I'm going to sew through. So this one, and this one. So they're the 3 that are closest to the inside edge. So I'm exiting the 15-0, I'm just going to sew through the first one that's on this part of the band. Like that. And then I'm going to sew through the Delica that's on the band. So we're doing a little zipping, and then we're going to go back to the one on the ring and sew through that one. So that's that next one I had marked. Move my hand in a second. I just want you to see the thread path. You're going to be making yours a little, tight, but I just want you to see the thread path. So through that second one on the ring part, and then back to the band through the next Delica. That. And then back to this part of the ring through that last one I had marked. And I just want to pull this tight, so when I pull it tight, I'm all connected except for that last 15-0, see? So I'm exiting this one I had marked. I'm going to sew through the 15-0 and this one, so the one like right above the 15-0. This one and this one, just put your thumb on it. I just want to connect it really well. So now I'm connected, so you want to make sure it's nice and sturdy. I'm going to sew through this Delica to like tighten it up. And you see how that pulls it in a little bit so that it's on beautifully. Okay, I'm going to sew through this one. If you can get through some of the Delicas that are marked, again, to reinforce, do that. I think it's going to be too tight. This is a very good connection. I'm not worried about it. Exiting here, can reverse direction. Go down on the diagonal. So now I'm just getting ready to sew my threads in. Now your band is on beautifully. That's how it looks. So I'm not going to do this side, but this side is easier because all you have to do is hold it around your finger. See, so you have something to hold, and then just do your zipping, just like you did on the other side. See, so this is, that's 1, 2, goes 1, 2, 3. All right, so there's our ring. I was looking at this and I was thinking how cute it would be as a little pendant, in a little bail. Anyway, there we go. Let me put on the other ring. Show you the finished, guys. So here we go. The white one is, I don't know where it is, somewhere. All right, so here you go. Here are our rings. I hope you enjoyed this video. Whoops, let me do that. There we go. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing this whole series. It was so much fun. Like, really a blast. All right, so I'm going to see you on the next video. So have a great one. Take care. Bye-bye.